I didn't see any out there. Okay. Item 3 is approval of the minutes of the board meeting on September the 8th.
I move we accept them as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion item number 4 is discussion of the airport manager's report and monthly financials.
Okay, I'd like to encourage everyone with the agenda items, just to be sure as board members that you are letting me know if there's something that you guys want to discuss. Anything, special items or anything like that. You usually do during the meetings, and then I'll follow up on, but just want to remind you all that it's important because it's your meeting too. And I made a point to go and get with Gail to go over those agenda items and just make sure there wasn't something that was important to him. Otherwise, if you guys come up with something. Discussion on airport buildings, grounds, and equipment. Our zero-turn radius mower. Excuse me. Let me back up. The hangar development update. We have hangar 6A, water line and locates. There was a hangar that has been built over, and I thought it was important to let the airport board know so that you aren't blindsided by something, but there was a hangar that was built over an 8-inch water line. The water line, we are going to be discussing what's going to happen with that and what's the appropriate things to be taken, the way to go with this. Once the water line, we're thinking it's going to be relocated more than likely, to prevent any other things coming of it. Once the water line has been relocated, then the owner would resume construction of the retaining wall, drive, and hangar. So I was just kind of trying to let you guys know where we were with that hangar development. And that's on hangar 6A. Hangar 20B and 20C, I've in a previous meetings told you that we were waiting on the
Can we go back just a little bit?
Yes.
Isn't it routine in construction to have utilities located
The utilities.
before you dig?
Correct.
So how was that missed? Was it missed? It sounds like it was missed.
The utilities, there was a locate done on it. I even called the previous airport manager to ask. He assured me that all the locates were done as far as to his knowledge and the owner building who built the hangar. They were all under the impression that had been located. I called out for a second, another locate since I've been here how we found it was during the boring in of conduit for Cox. We were doing our digging. There was a lot of stuff there behind, and let me put on the pointer here. We're right here, and then so down here along this area, we've got a lot of this Zipco, and then we got the Blue Skies Flight, and then the 6A, hangar 6A. So right through here is where they were digging. We had a locate of all the locates, and everything was good. When the guy was digging, he dug down to an 8-inch water line. Called in for another locate because he had hit an AT&T line. The AT&T line was not located right. During this whole thing, because of all the different stuff going on over the airport, over the different, many years, there has been several things that have gone on as far as builds. Usually you have an as-built and you know where those lines are. Well, because those lines were put in so long ago, they don't have a read to them. When you locate, you got to have some kind of electrical read, sensing, and I'm not getting the right terminology, but on the sewer line, you'll have a copper line, or a water line, excuse me, not sewer line. On a water line, you have a copper line. Back when they did these years ago, they didn't do that. They had different ways of locating it. So here we have digging. They got down to this area. They asked for a locate again because they'd hit AT&T again. And when they found the water line, we called out for another locate. Our locate guys with the city were able to hook onto that copper line, and it shot straight up underneath the hangar here, from this angle down here, and it went this way. And it's probably what it's appearing to be right now. The as-bills show there's not a water line there. But when we did the locate and hooked onto it, it's showing it went straight under there. So there was a little confusion today as far as trying to iron out exactly what happened. But right now, as far as I'm concerned, it's protecting the interest of the tenant, protecting the interest of the airport. What is the best thing? What should we do to go forward from here? This will be
Who is the
discussed.
tenant on that hangar?
The tenant, who is the
Uh-huh.
tenant? That's Bob Sheehan.
Okay.
He's he's our main lead guy. He's aware of it. He knows what's going on. He was getting ready to put in his drive and get everything up, get his airplane in, and I told him about that probably 3 or 4 days after I found out about it, because I kind of wanted to know where we were and what was going to happen with it and how to proceed forward. So I do have a meeting in the morning with Bruce Johnson, and we'll be discussing it. Bruce, it was aware of it when, as soon as it happened, I let him know just in case something transpired of it. Went to the director at the Public Works, and she was not happy about the situation either. It happened.
I can tell you, when he started down there, I told him, I said, you got a water line running right through here. And he said, oh, it's all been marked, everything's cool. And I'm going, all you gotta do is line up with the manhole out through there. So, who's really gonna be on the hook for this?
That's,
Well, and the like today I was told, the as-bills showed that from the fire hydrant, that it was redirected west of that hangar. So I'm assuming that fire hydrant's right out here. I was gonna go walk over there and look, but they're either here or over here, but that it was directed out towards the front of it, and then it went. But when you stand over there, you can go over there and stand there, and they painted a blue line, so you can see, where the blue line is. So when the call came today that they didn't think there was a water line there, then I questioned that, because I know that the locate guy hooked onto this copper lead line. So unfortunately, we're faced with that, and where do we go from here? Do the right thing, basically. We've got to do the right thing. So, as I said, I will report more to you next month and let you know what we have done and where we go from here. The owner's anxious to he was waiting for the heat to go away, and now the heat's go away, and now he can't do anything now until we get this rectified. But
Well, they won't have to dig very deep to hook up the water.
thank you, Joe.
So it's just being careful. There's all kinds of, there's different things that I've seen that's happened in the past with something like that. So, the best way to proceed forward. So I'll give you a follow-up report next month.
Good.
Let you know what's going on with that. Actually, lighter subject, easier stuff. Hangar 20B and 20C, Ron Jewell's still working towards that. The biggest thing is waiting on the FAA, airspace and evaluation. I do have a call in to one of the guys down there that is a specialist, and I haven't gotten a return call, and I hope to find something out on that. We do have the aeronautical study numbers, which does help to track that down and find out what's going on with it. So the building permit also was turned into the city, so basically the FAA is what we're waiting on.
Question on that. On
Yes.
this airspace evaluation, the FAA knows we got an airport set in here, and where our building lots are gonna be. Why can't all that be taken care of before so it doesn't, we're not hung up for a guy wanting to build a hangar. We're hung up waiting on this government agency or that government group to get us permission to do something. Why can't this all be on a master plan someplace?
Well,
You
the
know, I-
buildings aren't the development, and the idea of a master plan is to show you development stuff. But as far as the highest point of that building, that's not on your master plan. So what they're doing is they're evaluating the space from the closest end of the
Well,
runway.
yeah, what I'm saying is why not go ahead and put a maximum height on this lot right here? You
And
gotta
a
let it
minimum
go-
distance from the taxiway and the.
Yeah, and the taxiway, have that already down on a master plan.
Build away.
Because once that is built, then that building will be, when your master plan is updated, or your ALP, then that building will be on there with that height on there, whereas it wouldn't be before. And I know your highest point is normally what they do, they will go with the highest point. If you have a strip mall that's being put in, and you have towers on this strip mall, they're just gonna survey that highest point and then cover that whole area. But in this instance, we don't know what the heights of each building is gonna be. If you look, there's several buildings that are different heights from each other, so that's basically what they're doing. It's FAA, they're 30 to 45 days, and we have to abide by those rules and regulations. So as far as answering the question is why they can't, I agree, it would be
Yeah,
easier.
I'm not taking shots at you. I just don't know why, as big as that organization is, can't come out here and give us, at these areas, you can only build a hangar so high. That's it.
Bureaucracy.
And then we're covered. Well, we don't want any people
That would be
held up.
That
Well,
would be much too simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
If there's trees on the outside of the fence, after a certain height, they just note that there's trees there. It's not our property, it's just, they do it that way.
And those, if I have trees in the approach area or anywhere near this airport, those trees, the highest point of those trees have been evaluated.
Right, but
Yeah.
across the fence, if Walmart lets their nursery go, they just note it in the green book, in the mint green book, there's trees near the end of the runway. And they don't even make it, well, they write it down after their visit, that's all. But I'm with you, Joe, I think.
That's why I'm here, so
It's
I
under
can
the
let you
maximum
guys know.
It's under the
That
maximum.
we have to, 30 or 45 days, you guys file this, and
You
I
are,
know.
you're a good sounding board.
From now on, Joe and I will settle down.
No, it's good, I get it out there. All right, item C, hangar 13, the lease agreement amended for the addition of 1,760 square feet added to the existing hangar lease agreement has been completed. Again, we're waiting on an FAA airspace evaluation.
Yeah, and that hangar's not gonna be any taller.
Right. Yeah, and that might be a good precedence. We'll find out, because I know that what we did and the questions that we're asking is finding out when you're building onto a hangar, as long as, if it's the same height,
And away from the airport.
tell us why you're requesting that. And believe me, I've been doing this for over 10 years, 12 years, dealing with just FAA airspace at the airport I was at before. And I have learned so much, and I continue to learn and ask questions. But I'm happy to ask those questions. Okay, item D, just want to let y'all know that there has been several inquiries on hangar rental availability and a couple of inquiries on hangar development, which will lead to the next item, but we won't discuss that right now. So I'm going to go on past that since that is the agenda item. Airport buildings, grounds, and equipment. Taxiway Alpha 3 lighted sign, I mentioned to you last month that it was out of service. It is back in service. We also had a taxiway Alpha 2 lighted sign fail. We were able to repair that ourselves. We have the parts on hand, so yay, Coit. The REALS, runway and identifier light system for runway 34 was out of service for approximately a couple weeks, a little more. Fortunately, our airport electrician was able to use the REALS from the north end that we took out in order to put the O's in. So we were just, we weren't out the parts. So the bill is probably half what it would be. We have started locking the gate here by the terminal building with a padlock. This will prevent unauthorized entry after hours until such time the electric gate can be installed. I've called, I have somebody coming out tomorrow to give me an estimate on what an electric gate will be, what it's going to take to get a gate controller on there. We have power hooked up there. Just curious, who knows when we might, but at least if I have those numbers, we might be able to work towards that. Also, at the same time, I'm exploring the idea of, here we are, and if you have the parking lot here and you walk over here, there's a fence, you know, connecting these two. So if we have a walk-through gate there with a keypad, this will also, the idea was right over here, when Blue Skies Flight Training School went in, we put a drive and a gate through here. I guess it used to be one years ago. So my question was, why, where are we, how do we go from here? Ask Matt Cole what he thought, this, that. So my idea was, instead of having traffic come through here and the cost of another electric gate and then having to mess with that, we put a walk-through gate right through here with a keypad, allows his people to park here without any traffic coming in here, and then we walk right over here. Another thing is, during all this security stuff, and why I'm bringing it up is that I'm out away from the airport. I have the ability to look at the security cameras from my iPhone or from my iPad, and that allows me to see what's going on in different areas, at least where the cameras are. The gate was 9:20 p.m. at night. The gate's closed at 6 p.m. at night. The gate was open, so I waited 20 minutes. The gate was still open. Approached Glenn Crabtree about it. Said, Glenn, you know, what is your take on this? He said several times he'd come in the morning, you know, 5:30, and that gate would be wide open. So the thing, it just kind of makes me a little bit nervous. We start getting more transient traffic in here. We need to be protecting that, not only our tenants, but we need to be protecting those aircraft that are out there. The walk-through gate up here is still keypad. People can still come in and out. If they really need to get into the airport, they can come down over here to where the other gate is.
A mailbox.
Oh, right here,
Right there.
right there. So that has a keypad entry. After a certain time at night, it's closed, then you have to have keypad entry. So anybody that's supposed to be on the airport would have access through that. The fire department is aware. We have to think emergency plans also. So the fire department is aware that we have a padlock here. So we are working on that in the emergency. They're aware of where would they come in and such. So the idea is to try to expedite electric gate controller and such.
So that's where we're headed down the road?
That's where I'd like to
Another
go.
idea.
I think before I say any more on it, I wanted to get estimates and see, you know, how would we go about doing that. You know, I've got a big wish list that I'm going over with Bruce Johnson. I'm gonna have costs for him of things, but at the same time, once I see where he is, I'd like to go over them with all of you and see what you guys think about as far as prioritizing what you think is best for the airport. I got a lot of different little things, and it just takes little steps at a time, one bite at a time.
When we look at prioritizing, it sounds like it's high, but on the other hand, the vandalism we've had has been on the outside. There's been, despite these breaches, there's been nothing of extreme high priority that's been lost.
I understand that. I'm just thinking as far as moving forward. A lot of your other airports are secure, and we need to start looking that direction. Yes, prioritize. I agree absolutely 100%. It may not be high on the priority list, but that's something to be
Well, I mean, high
discussed.
priority in terms of electrification up in the electric gate. We can lock it tomorrow morning if we feel like it. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Just makes it easier. There's a lot of traffic that comes in and out of that gate because they can. They just drive right through. A lot of people that have been making deliveries here, they know their clients. Then those that don't, they're wondering what do they do, where do they go, because they've been to other airports, they come to ours, and do they just drive out on the ramp or what? So I'm looking at trying to be a little bit more formal, and I mean just as far as the security sense. Another incident that happened just a couple nights ago, we had a young, not sure if young, but I've got from over at Blue Skies Aviation Flight Training School, got a report from Matt Cole, from one of his instructors, that there was a tall, thin man over there taking pictures of his flight school. Stranger, never seen him before. Then he started taking pictures of the airplane. When the instructor got out to approach the person, he left in a hurry. That's very odd to have somebody taking pictures. So a lot of little things I'm just keeping a log of, and these are things really we need to start thinking about considering. I know it's a country airport out here, and we haven't had a lot of that stuff going on. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, and that the one time that it does, it could have been prevented. Just preventative, trying to, just get ahead of the game. Item E, Cox boring conduit is completed, so now we will have capabilities to call up and ask for the further. If you're in one of the buildings close to that, you'll be able to call up Cox and tell them you want to get hooked up. Yeah. So we're working on that right now to get my office, and then think about Pilot's Lounge further on down the line. So mowing operations of the airfield, we're still playing catch up, but it's really starting to look good. We're starting to get to some areas. We've started to take out some of the trees down in the approach area. There's some cottonwood trees down there that are only 5-6 feet high, but from what I understand, they grow really fast. So we're getting those down. We've got 2 down. We have another one that's grown up between the hangars over here. There's one right there that's right smack dab in the middle of the hangars, which we'll be taking that down soon. It looks to be that it's happened before, it has been taken down before. I do have what they call Torden, RT, ready to use, RTU, tree stump killer. So we'll be applying that on these. We will also be going on the east side of if you go around on, not Division, but Industrial, if you go around on Industrial on the east side and you start looking back over towards the runway, you'll see a lot of little green dots. They're cedar trees. There is a bunch. I think it's really important right now, while they're little, we can go and take those down with the brush hog and then go behind it and start putting this stump killer, what we call it, stump killer. So we are going to do that. Just try to keep all this stuff down and keep it to a minimum.
Where's that spot? Can you hit me the red on the left map?
Yeah, right over in here. Let me see. I'm over here. Right? Here's Industrial.
There you go, down there.
So if you're driving over here and you look out over here, you're going to see a bunch of cedar, little baby cedar trees over here. Then when I took a ride out over in here, there's a couple trees coming up. I want to get those down and keep them down. You never know what we might want to do, but if we start letting it get up like this side could easily be that way if we don't stay on top of it. So while they're small, that's just, while we have the time, we're going to be taking care of that. So it's off the north end. They've all started to sprout out. Noticed this probably a couple months ago. We went out, and somebody mentioned to me the little green dots on the hill, that they should, eventually like to, it's going to be hard in these areas to do anything, but as far as where the fence is, where the fence comes down, it'd be ideal to have at least a 5-foot edge mowed up to here. Of course, we can't get in there, and then continue down. If we you know, with the equipment we have, we can only do so much without tearing it up. So we just do what we can, and it just helps cut down on your, habitat helps us to figure out where our coyotes are coming in at, except for all the gaps we have. But it's just, you know,
Those
little
cedars,
things
if
mean
they
a
get
lot.
away from you, they're a fire danger too.
Exactly. So. Okay, item G is self-service fuel card reader. I wish board member Guy was here. I think he mentioned something about researching the possibility of getting it upgraded to read the debit credit cards. Was a little concerned about the new chip technology coming out. I called Greg Bender, who is at Fuel Master, he's the one who helped put that whole system in. Talked to him a couple days ago on October 8th. He said we don't have to worry about that for at least 2 years. So it gives us a little breathing room. He
You
said
don't have
that,
to worry about it, he'll have to worry about it, because if somebody tries to beat him out of it, it's on him. Whenever it becomes possible to have the chip reader in there and you don't get it, then any loss goes back to you, which is him.
yeah, he said that there is an option not to do anything. He said the only risk is that we'd be liable for those fraudulent card readers, or unless our credit card network required us to do it, then we would do it. He said, but right now, that's the estimate. They estimated it's estimated to be 2020 before that stripe on the back of your credit card will go completely away. So I'll stay on top of that so that, you know, we're taking care of it. He also suggests that we continue to do the preventive maintenance of the program. So that was just, if anything happens to it, they're able to do 80% of the repairs remotely and by phone or Ethernet, so that works well. He did also say that, with all that being said, that at this time there was no protocol for Fuel Master, that it has not been written yet as what to do, but as soon as he had something, he would notify me and let me know. So, like you were saying, Gail, that we're staying up with it, we're on top of that. The approximate cost to change that would be about $2,000. So that would be something that could be budgeted in for future. Airport improvement projects, the runway 1634, the final inspection was completed on September 9th. The Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, they were very pleased with the work. They also did the inspection on taxiway Alpha. We had punch list items. Punch list items are items that we feel should be taken care of that just aren't up to our standards. Little things like maybe a little chip or a little crack. So those things were taken care of. Anything where the edge of the taxiway is not a 1.5 inch lip, then they need to bring it up to that. Any lights that were hit or anything like that that hadn't been taken care of, those are things that we look for on a punch list item. Some aren't familiar with the term punch list. That's basically what that is. It's just items that until they complete those, the contractor wouldn't be paid. I'm going to wait on the ODL since that is also an agenda item. And the airport services and projects that on the pilot's lounge, that's on the agenda. Wildlife management, I just want to remind you all that we have a continuous problem with coyotes, and it seems that we're sighting them more now, and I think towards winter you usually do, or we just happen to be catching them at the right time. Just wanted to let you know again, the contract we have with USDA Wildlife Services is $800 a year. That's just for 20 hours for the year, and $40 an hour for every hour over 20 hours. So if I have a problem, if I see they're becoming a nuisance, then we will be calling out Wildlife Services. We won't take any chances as far as, airplanes and wildlife don't mix. So Right now, I don't see anything. We've also had a couple deer come through just recently. Yeah, okay. So that will be coming back to us. But I'll keep an eye on that and let you guys know how we're progressing as far as budget and such.
It'll help keep the deer away if we keep the gate closed too.
All right, moving on to community involvement in our fly-in. That day was a huge success for us. We had an approximate attendance of over 850 people. We calculated between everybody's calculations. The Young Eagles program flew 98 children from the following cities, and I have to say this because I think it's awesome. Guthrie was 58, Edmond was 24 children, Oklahoma City we had 8, Crescent was 2, Yukon was 2, Moore 1, Stillwater 1, and we had Tulsa, we had 1. We also served the Guthrie Edmond Aviation Association, served over 630 hot dogs. They were busy. It was really cool. Student Flight Academy came down from OUN. They had over 50 children build and shoot off paper rockets, and close to 80 visited their learning center. That went over real well. I hope to bring them back again next year. Many of the airplanes that came in and out all day, there was at least 50 on the ramp, and then we were having any transients and things like that park off over in the grass strip, and that was really neat. It was amazing.
We had one come through from Florida.
There we go.
He didn't know it, but he thought, hey, this is great.
That's fantastic. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Everybody just jumped in, and I have to say, Gail's people, some guys that help him out all the time, not to mention all the pilots for the Young Eagles. Those guys were just running all day long from the time they started. I was leaving here at 4:30 and I felt guilty because they were still here giving flights, and I'm like, are you okay with me? I just felt bad, but I think they had about 10 left to do, so it was just fantastic. And we got some neat stuff. If you guys do Facebook, I went in and put a lot of pictures on there, added a few more, probably another 70 pictures to it. Just recently had one of our tenants had been going around taking pictures, so he came in and gave me some more.
Matt and his pilot flew a lot of
That's right.
old
Thank you
Eagles.
so much.
I think we did,
The Eagle flights.
Well, no, these
we
were
call them the
just-
old buzzards.
Oh, the old buzzards.
These were the old buzzards.
Within the 18 or so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had 2 planes, and I believe that we did, between the two of us, almost 30 flights between the two of us.
Wow, thank you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
There was a lot of free flights here.
Fantastic. That was neat. It was so neat.
Are we gonna put those Facebook photos on the website too?
You know, the website, that's a good question. Sure. I am learning the website. If any of you are good with that, that is on my list, and I will get to that. Now that you've mentioned it, I have to do something. I have actually got on there and was able, I need to update one thing on there that I know for sure, but I updated a couple of the board members, so I could do that. I will explore that and hopefully have something on there for you. Normally, I know Facebook is a big thing. I haven't seen a lot of websites with a lot of pictures. I think they're all going to Facebook, but if you think that's a good direction to go, I'd be happy to explore that and put that on.
For some people, Facebook is a little transparent.
Okay. I'm gonna write that down because it's a good opportunity to get to know our website better.
Some people don't want to live quite that publicly.
I agree. Okay. The airport, I added this in there, airport manager activities, just to let you guys know a little bit of the stuff that I do outside of work, but it all relates back here to the airport and all relates to benefit the airport. I was always told by somebody, one of my mentors, that if the better I am, the better I'll be for the airport. You know, the more education I get, and I love learning. I've been learning a lot here at this airport. It's been great because it's a variety, and I've enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to more. So airport manager activities, some of the stuff that I've done is a community emergency response team training certification at the Oklahoma Emergency Operations Center in Moore. Did 22 hours of that this last month. That's where I was running off to every Tuesday and Thursday night. Basically, what the certified emergency response team is basic skills that are important to know in a disaster when emergency services are not available. It's doing the greatest good for the greatest number after disaster. So if that were to be aircraft accidents, incidents, if we have a tornado, hurricane, anything come through here, I've got the basic skills to be thinking about that. Any basic skills that we'll need to respond to our community's immediate needs in the aftermath of a disaster or when emergency services are not immediately available. Just real quick, some of the stuff we went through was disaster preparedness, fire safety, utility control, disaster medical operations, part 1 and part 2. We did light search and rescue, mobilization of a CERT organization, the ICS function, incident commands system functions. We did several tabletop exercises, did a lot on the disaster psychology of it, not only affecting your team members, but the people around you and how you deal with them, terrorism and CERT. And then we did a course review, final exam, and disaster simulation, which included an earthquake. We went in, we had all of our gear on. We had gas fumes. We had people hurt in an earthquake, lights out, having to use flashlights, going through triage. We had real people that had been hurt. Scenario where they were hurt, we lost some, we had fires. So we went through the whole thing. It was really a neat thing. It's kind of like the more you do this, the more you get muscle memory. So it was really neat exercise for me. And I think it will be beneficial should anything happen out here to have a little bit of that under my belt.
Well, I hope you never have to use any of that.
Me too. We kind of, CERT team is basically like a backup until your fire department, MSTAT, or people like that get there. In fact, the night before our final, actually the morning of, I was headed to work, getting ready to go to work, and there was a huge accident outside of my entrance. And it just kicked in. I wondered, because I always thought, oh, there's people there, I'll just go into work the back way. I went up there and I was able to, it was really neat. It was just a really good experience. And had I not been through this training, I probably would have said, oh, I'll just go the back way. And it's kind of neat. It's kind of like breaking the ice and having that. So, Oklahoma Municipal League OML conference in Tulsa. I attended that. Oklahoma Airport Operators Association, OAOA. I'm very active with the association, past president. I went up there to help out with their booth, and what we do is just talk with all the city managers and people that don't know about OAOA. A lot of people come through that have other airports that aren't members, try to get them signed up. That way they have the resources at their fingertips. I've done a lot with OAOA, and I owe them a lot for all the resources and the people that are out there to help. If we have a problem here, we can call somebody that's dealt with it before. Also, I chair the speaker committee for the Oklahoma Airport Operators Association. Their conference planning committee have done that for the last 5 or 6 years. So we have regularly scheduled quarterly meetings. Planning meeting meets every month, and then I conduct speaker committee conference calls monthly until we have our conference. That's it for that.
Okay, let's see where we're at here. I've lost my place. I think our next thing is the financials, but let me
You know, we're at the end of the year, which is a good thing in coming from my direction anyways. So from here, starting with October, I can keep a better track of what's going on and where our money's going. If there's anything that looks out of place, I'll be able to answer to it more readily for you guys. In doing a budget or having a budget that someone else has done will be a little bit of a challenge because don't know what to expect or how things have gone, but I trust Justin. I know what he was thinking. We talked about it. So I feel like it's real close to probably what mine's going to be looking like as far as keeping up with, you know, where are we spending money, where's it going, making sure we're doing everything we can to prevent preventive maintenance, basically. Being careful with our equipment and our other assets.
Anybody got any questions on the financial? Okay, item number 5, the odors. You were going to mention something else on the odors?
Just real quick, just want to let you know that they were inspected on September 9th. Again, a punch list was developed for items needing to be addressed. Once those items are completed, the contractor will be paid. And I wanted to bring it up on the agenda mainly to let you guys know that coming up soon, trees and shrubs will be burned on the airport. And these are trees and shrubs that were moved out of the way in order to put our Station 1 and Station 2 down here. So Station 1 is over here, and then Station 2 sits right about there. So there's a lot of shrub and brush, and I went down and took pictures and such. It all needs to be cleaned up. They will not be leaving it there. What they'll do now, remember, this Odals is straight down center line. If we have them burning brush, they're calling me and asking me, you know, well, we can't get our trucks down in here, which they're right. They can't get big trucks down in there and move any equipment around to load out that brush and haul it off. So I'm like, okay, well, it's in our approach path, and that's smoke. That's not gonna work. Well, can you close down the runway for a day? No, that can't work. We've been there, done that. So I suggested to them that we get what they call an air curtain. An air curtain, which is really neat, you guys, and if you get an opportunity, seriously, you have to come and see how it works. They are actually had a
Made in Georgia. They are amazing.
They are. They build a large, they dig a large hole. It's probably about a 12 by 8 foot hole, 6 feet deep. They get all their brush and put it down in there. And they're using like a track hoe with a claw on it. So they're putting all their brush in there. And then they pour diesel in the bucket and then pour diesel on there and light it. So with this air curtain, it's a metal, well, it's basically a big old fan that comes up with this metal piece. It's like this, and then this fans are over here, and it pushes the air down into this hole, like as if you were blowing on the coals, making them hotter and hotter. And for about the first 20-30 minutes, you get a little bit of smoke, but not very much. And then they burn so hot that there's no smoke. And they just keep filling this thing, and it gets burned to where the coals, and you have no smoke. So
It looks like a farm combine, but it's like the
yeah,
world's
that's a good-
largest
there you
vacuum
go.
nozzle.
It's amazing.
We could throw a pig or two
I
out
was
there.
gonna say that.
Well, they called me up and they,
Yeah.
yes, there, the marshmallow Ross.
Yeah, 50-foot rod.
So that's gonna be, that's a big thing for us to be able to, them to use the air curtain. They went along with that suggestion. Previous contractor that I worked with owns one, so he worked out, and he knows Libra. Libra's the contractor that is gonna be taking care of that. So they worked out a deal. I got them in contact with each other, and that's the way we're gonna proceed. So that works well. We don't close down anything, don't interrupt flight operations, flight training, so it worked well.
You don't even have to do it at midnight, huh?
Correct.
Okay, item number 6, discussion of the airport pilot lounge bid opening results.
On the back, very back, I think, of the packet, you'll see the bid tabulation. I was able to retrieve just in the nick of time so I could get it in the packet. If you look at all these, there's 2 companies, C4L and Legacy Consulting and Development, that bid the whole thing. They bid them individually as we requested, and at the same time, they bid all of them. It's easier for contractors to bid out a full project, of course it is, but in our, with what we went through with the first bid, and it was above our budget, way above, we went back and did it this direction. So now, if you were to take some of the things that have transpired, as Legacy Consulting and Development decided, they told us right at the end of the bids received that they did not want to, they would not be piecing it out. So if they had a low bid, they weren't a part of it, they wanted the whole thing, either all or nothing. So we said, okay, so if you take and you kind of mark them out for a minute. Then, if you, Spaith, they're out of Oklahoma City. If you look at HVAC, Section C, which is HVAC, they bid $12,987, which is higher than any other one. So that puts them out. Wise Electric is our airport electrician. They're about $150 higher than what C4L called out. It's still $150. So if you take them off the list, then you have your low bids are C4L and R&R. R&R beat C4L out. If you look down at Section F, for doors and door hardware, so R&R was low bid on that. And the cabinetry, Section G, which is cabinetry, countertops, and millwork, they were low bid on that. So there's 2 sections. So if you take all the low bid from C4L, add those together, and then add the 2 low bids from R&R Construction, you come up with $56,920. The total for just C4L, if you add all those figures together, they came out at $63,114, which is well over our budgeted amount. So what I did is I took the difference and came up with, if you take C4L, they haven't said that they wouldn't do it if they didn't get the whole thing. So if we proceed that direction, getting as low as we can, we come up with $56,920, which, rounded out to $57,000 budgeted.
Which is about 16,000 over what we've got. So don't we have about,
50. I thought we had 50.
do we have 50?
50,000 is our budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was thinking 40.
So it's really not bad, I don't think, and I think for the cost it costs to go out and advertise again. My recommendation when we get there, and I just feel like we should go ahead with it. So I'll have more to report next month to you and see where we ended up. I mean, we pieced out because we want low.
Yeah,
So
and
we should stick to that and then go from there. And I just feel like if we get this project started and get going, that we'll be able to find the funds.
I just did it in my head, and I thought it was closer to 53. But like I say, I did it in my head.
That's good. I had to use a calculator.
Okay, well,
I can't do it in my head.
yeah, but I beat you by 3,000. Yeah.
So I'll have more to report, and I hope it's all good. It will be good. It will be. We'll be positive. But I'm encouraged by that. And I do have, on my desk in there, I've got pictures of what, I mean, like a photograph of what we expect the pilot cell to look like. I don't know if you guys ever got to see that or not, but
Yeah, I've
it's
seen
kind
it.
of a, oh, you did,
Yeah, I've
good.
seen it.
Computer
Yeah.
generated, good.
Yeah.
Okay, wasn't sure if you had that. Very good.
Okay. Is that it on the?
Yes.
Okay. Item 7, discussion of forming a committee to talk with prospective hangar buyers. And I think you and I had discussed some of this.
Yes.
In your office one day. You want to take it from there?
Yeah. I think the reason why it came about is 3 heads are better than one. You know, I have questions, I have a lot of questions when somebody comes in and, you know, they want to build this and want to build that, but I can't always think of all the questions to ask. I think it would be a good idea if we had a committee to allow us to get a lot of the questions answered before bringing it to the board. A committee of 3 from the airport board. I had a couple people in mind, and you stop me if I start saying too much.
No, we're not gonna vote.
Yeah, we're not voting. It's just a thought I had, a couple of different people, one that has a lot of history and background here. Well, they all do, basically, as far as knowing the airport. And it's a thought of the direction I would go would be Gail Braden, Joe Underwood. He's got a lot of history, he's known a lot of stuff. He's done this. Gail's been here. And then I thought about Dick Guy. So it's not set in stone or anything, but it'd just be a really good opportunity. I've had people coming in and asking me questions, and then Gail, you know, when I mentioned it to him, he's like, well, what about this, what about that? I thought, really, that's, you know. So I think that having more than just me to answer all these questions, that if we get to form a committee to where we don't have to record and do a
We've had a committee,
yeah,
we've had a
where it's all
committee in the
legal.
past,
Okay.
and right now, I think the only surviving member of that committee is Dick Guy. So I don't see a
realize
problem with that. I don't know if it's an item that we have to even vote on.
If you wanna do a committee, you ought to put it on the next agenda and vote on it.
Okay.
Formalize it.
Okay.
And then the manager has direction too.
Okay.
Do you mind if I ask why there isn't a committee now? You said there was one.
Well, and Dick is still on it, but he's the only one that survived. Nobody else was on it that's now on the board.
Terms expired, you know.
Yeah.
How long ago was it? Do you know?
It's
It has been a while?
It's been a while, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel more comfortable doing that. Got a couple of perspective, you know, they're always perspective, and you really don't know until you get right down to it. But I think it'd be really neat to brainstorm with them, have a skull session, and start talking about these things and what we can and can't do, and try to get something moving. I need help
I think it's a pretty good idea.
and questions answered.
Not necessarily that you need help, but like you say, more heads are better than one.
Yeah, absolutely, and yes. So that would be really good. I hope you all are on board with that. And if somebody else wants to be a part of it, we can switch off, because different ideas, or even give us, can we give input from other people? They can give input as long as they're not in on the meeting, right? How does that work?
Well, they can give input to you.
Okay, to me.
They can't be a part of the meeting.
Okay.
If there's 4 of you together, it's a meeting.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's-
Okay.
That's
Good
a
to-
no-no.
So, okay,
It's limited to 3.
okay.
And
But-
just FYI, don't be sending out any of us emails to everybody and then reply to all, because that's a meeting. Keep those You can send out an email, but y'all shouldn't reply.
Oh, that's a good idea, okay, didn't think of that.
It's a real good idea.
I'm gonna always reply individually.
Fine.
Do not reply to all.
That's why we pay them the big bucks.
That's it.
Keep us in mind.
Pay for my vacation.
Good.
Okay.
I know that went a little longer than normal, you guys, but there's a lot of stuff to cover.
Okay, any other, we don't have any action items. Go around the room real quick. Carrie, you got anything?
Nothing extra.
I want to talk about that new mower. It's good that it's running. All the stuff that we have, do we have hour meters on those?
We do. And I
Next
keep.
item.
Okay.
They're cheap and they tell you what's going on. You don't have a
And
speedometer.
in fact, I do, Coit keeps up with that, and he gives this to me weekly. And I send that report along with, over to our Public Works Department, because Shelby over there takes care of that. She makes sure that's in there for Edmond. I know Edmond is wanting to know about the equipment hours and what's logged on those. So yes, everything, our weed eater, our blower, our weed killer sprayer, we log all those hours. Yeah, our golf.
I know some of it's small
anytime-
enough that many of them are available without them, so.
Oh, okay.
It's just-
Yeah, ours,
Good,
our
thanks,
has like an ohms meter.
Okay. Joey, you got anything?
So we do keep track of those weekly.
No, it's good. Good manager's report. It's neat to see you going to these extracurricular activities. That's good.
Okay. Got anything?
No.
Okay. We are adjourned.